I'm going to be very blunt and very honest with you. I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's obviously watching the show. Coach Pitino, welcome to the Red and Blue Review, and to you. Say hello to our colleagues in confusion. This is Darrell Bird of the Cat's Paws.
With a take on Louisville, how bad is it? I'm thinking of like Titanic, where the captain's supposed to go down with the ship.
Yeah.
Big East commissioner said, I'm out of here. He bailed. He went for a swan dive. Good luck, Louisville, in that league you're in.
Howie Lindsay of the Louisville Sports Report. He is still in the Big East as of this moment, at least. Right?
As of this moment,
Yeah.
you know, what happens when John Calipari and Barack Obama are in the same room at the same time?
Oh, boy.
There's got to be a joke in there somewhere. That's what happened this last week, and congrats to the Cats on the championship, all that kind of thing.
We'll be talking about that and a lot of other fun topics as we jump right into the lightning round. The Lightning Round on the Red and Blue Review brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, reminding you that one text or call could wreck it all. And what's hot is the Cats and their most recent trip to the nation's capital. As you know, the Big Blue Nation covers most all of the nation, but it doesn't have a lot of coverage in Washington, D.C. The president actually picked North Carolina to win the national championship, but it was Kentucky that got to meet the Prez.
Of course, I knew Kentucky was good. I had them in the championship game. But in the end, I thought, they got all these freshmen. These guys are too young. And, you know, keep in mind, at this time last year, 3 of the Wildcats' 5 starters were still in high school. Michael Gilchrist couldn't even vote yet.
Got to give him credit. Nice little plug there to get in the voting part of it. What a neat deal for the players to get to go to the White House to meet the president, regardless of your party affiliation, however you fall on that. The chance to be at the White House to meet leader of the free world is pretty cool, and guarantee these kids will remember that forever and ever.
And the only thing that kind of bugged me about the whole deal was at the end is Obama put up the shirt with Obama facing out rather than Kentucky facing out. Now, we all know who those kids are. But anybody else that's watching that picture of those nicely dressed young men would have no idea that's the Kentucky basketball team.
I guess you could go that way. Maybe he was admiring the front. Who knows? But
maybe.
I had more fun watching at the beginning as he's making his talk about Kentucky. Is how stiff all the guys were in the background. It's like, I'm at the president. I'm standing with the president. I've got to stand perfectly still. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Except for the one kid chewing gum behind him. Did you see that? Like, dude, you're meeting the
Very
president. Follow the gum.
Yeah. Well, the buzz, or what's hot for the University of Louisville, is the hype around hoops. Rick Pitino is saying it's pretty amazing how much excitement it can build when a team goes on a postseason run.
Well, I think it just shows you about society today in the sports world, because I think after the Syracuse game we were unranked, not really talked about, and then just a short period later we win the Big East championship, we go to the Final Four, and now we're suddenly a 1 seed going into next year.
Dumb and Dumber reference in 3, 2, and then you go and totally redeem yourself. Yeah, Louisville's season was just about nowhere. They weren't in the top 25, and then they go and totally redeem themselves and have that postseason run to the Final Four. And that's what it's all about. So much is reliant on that postseason. I mean, you think about Louisville, even just 2 seasons ago, they had a tremendous run through the Big East regular season, a really great season. They get out in the first round, and everybody thinks, oh, the season's a failure. Well, almost exact opposite this year.
So have we put the Moorhead loss behind Louisville now with the Final Four run? Is that official? Darrell, you
completely gone.
I'll give him. Yeah.
Okay.
Completely gone.
All right, make sure. All right, what's not hot at the University of Kentucky is unusual recruiting losses for the University of Kentucky, at least the last couple of days, on some of the big-name high school recruits. And as you may know, when Cal misses on a player, he often says that this program is not right for everybody.
Like I tell them, you know, guys, they're not only playing against the name on the front of the shirt, they're playing against the name on the back of the shirt. And that's what makes this unique and different. And I don't care that we start 3 freshmen, they're not looking at it that way. They're looking at, hey, they're saying this guy's all this and that, and it's not Jay. Every guy, our point guard, Doron Lamb, Terrence Jones, I mean, every guy that we have on our team, Darius Miller, they're all saying, look, I'm going after this guy, I'm going to show him better than him. And that's it. That's why this isn't for everybody. Every game you walk out there, someone's trying to make a name at your expense. Someone's trying to make their team's season at our expense. Every game we walk into.
And what makes it interesting is that a lot of people were expecting Kentucky to add a few more players before this class is over, and Anthony Bennett is the one that kind of surprised a lot of people, a little perplexing, to eliminate Kentucky and Florida in favor of keeping Oregon and Vegas, which was kind of odd as far as you not want to go play for the elite of the elite. And so that's where you come into the debate of we don't know, so the possibility that Kentucky's not for everybody, and some guys want that attention, some don't. The kids from out there, so not make too much out of it. The biggest alarm is that even if they don't add another player, they're still really good. They still have the #1 recruiting class in the country. They're just awfully young and awfully thin. You're talking about 2 freshmen at center, 1 power forward as close as you can get, and that's Kyle Wilcher. So, you know, they're going to be really thin next year playing, can you get away playing 6 people? He's done it 2 years in a row, so we'll see.
Well, one thing that we do see of this, and maybe the Pac-12 is starting to make a comeback, they've been dreadful for the last few years, and they've picked up some recruiting. UCLA's doing well. Oregon maybe gets this kid. So maybe Pac-12 basketball will become relevant again. What's not hot for Louisville is the baseball bullpen. Now, Louisville has enough talent around the field to make a deep run into the postseason, but the bullpen's been a little shaky lately.
No, you know, it's there's talent, and they're older guys. It's not like, you know, I could see if it's Birdie or Filomeno or some of the freshmen. It's older guys. It's proven guys. It's guys that have come out of the bullpen before. You know, and it's not just their fault. I mean, it's collectively. Sometimes they come in and we miss a bunt or we don't make a play at first, or, you know, it's been one thing after another. Just bad things have happened when we've gone to our bullpen.
That's never a good phrase. Bad things happen when you go to the bullpen. When you go to the bullpen, you want them to just absolutely close out the game and win it going away. And so I think Louisville's got the talent to make a postseason run. At this point, it's almost an assurity that they're going to go to Kentucky, and they're going to need that bullpen if they're going to face Kentucky over a 3-game series, or, you know, whatever that NCAA first round is going to be.
Latest rankings have Kentucky #7 in all of college baseball. The only out-of-conference losses they have, both to Louisville.
Wow. Amazing.
It really is pretty amazing. Cal scheduling is one of the buzz items percolating in the Big Blue Nation this week. As you know, when Kentucky releases the upcoming basketball schedule, it will not have Indiana playing at Rupp or Kentucky making the trip to Chapel Hill. So Cal, since he's not got one of those top 6, or lost his top 6 players from last year, he's not going to put together a top 6 schedule this year.
You can't learn against Popcorn State. You just can't. You can play those games, and you got to fill out your schedule, but you need these kind of games. You just don't need 12 of them. I bet you there's not a top 20 program that's locked into 5 games. I bet you. I bet you there's not a top 20 program. I'll be surprised if they're locked into 3 games every year. You can't play all these kind of games and put your program at risk. But you need to play these kind of games to figure out where are we before January hits. My job isn't to try to entertain. My job is to keep this program where it is and not put it at risk.
You talk about a buzz. The whole even came out with a little missive on CoachCal.com. Excuse me. We'll talk about after the break in the second segment about his philosophy on scheduling, but it just came and went very quickly. We heard the little rumblings all along that UK wanted to play Indiana neutral floor only, and Indiana wanted to keep the home and away, which made no sense now that Indiana's really good, and the series ends up going away. And personally, I put most of that blame on to Indiana because UK offered to play in Indianapolis next year, even though the game is supposed to be in Lexington. Let's play Indy 2 years in a row, for crying out loud, and split the revenue. Indiana still wouldn't go for that, so I know where I put the blame on that, but I hate to see it go. It's been around so long, and the fans just enjoy it so much in the rivalry that is there. Now, like I said, now that the Hoosiers are good again, I prefer to see it stay, but I understand where Calipari's coming from, too. They've got locked in to play the Michigan States and the Kansas and the Dukes the next 3 years, so they're locked into some huge games and to play in the bigger arenas like the NCAA tournament has.
And as these conferences expand, obviously the SEC's added 2 teams, that naturally affects your non-conference schedule. Somebody's going to get bumped off.
It does for the entire SEC, right? Because Cal keeps saying, let's play 18 games, and that's not. It's got to be 19. Because you're going to have home and away against the new East person and 1 game against somebody in the West. So it's at least the 19-game SEC schedule or more.
Louisville's own Wesley Career recently won the most famous road race marathon maybe in the whole world, the Boston Marathon. So even if he does not make his Olympic team in his native country, he will always be known as Wesley Career, Boston Marathon champion.
I think winning Boston Marathon, or only being at Boston Marathon, was Olympics for me. Like, being able to win Boston Marathon is it's more than Olympics. You know, Boston Marathon is the biggest marathon in the world. And before these, everywhere I went, and I tell somebody I'm a professional runner, they will ask me, "Have you ran Boston Marathon?" And if I tell them no, they're like, "Oh." You know, they're disappointed at you. Like, oh, I tell them, "Oh, but I won LA Marathon." They're like, "Oh, yeah, it's LA." You know, but now I can be able to say, yes, I ran Boston Marathon, but not only ran it, but we won it.
That is one of those like Oscar winner, Boston Marathon winner. That's something that will be a part of his title for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
What a cool thing. He said something interesting in this press conference earlier this week, is that this is the first time in 22 years that the day after the race, the Boston Marathon trophy wasn't shipped back to Kenya.
Wow.
First time in 22 years.
Yeah.
And it was shipped to Louisville. And how amazing is it that this kid, here's another interesting point, before the race, the Kenyan official said, "Oh, by the way, we've already picked the guys who are running the marathon for Kenya, so you're not going to run the Olympics for us."
Amazing that you can win the Boston Marathon and not make your own national Olympic team.
It is amazing. And you know, what's interesting for Wesley is he's got a Canadian wife, he wants to run for America, and he's also Kenyan. So he's got this whole like thing going on. My guess is people are working really, really hard to get him American citizenship. My guess is he will be an American citizen and he'll run the 10K for America in the Olympics, which would be absolutely awesome.
Good for him. Hey, I want to show you what we got back from you, feedback on who's to blame for this whole UK-IU deal with the basketball season series being discontinued, at least for the short term. And guys, I was a little surprised with this, honestly. The athletic directors got beaten up when this was first announced. None of our viewers feel that way, but Tom Crean is now seen as the villain in this.
I thought, my thought was it was 80% John Calipari. Now, granted, I'm a little biased, but just a little. But here's the thing: over the past week or so, as both of these coaches have made their comments, it sure sounds like neither one of them wanted to play the game.
Yeah.
I'd put that 50-50-0-0. I don't think the athletic director. I think it all came down to John and Tom coming together and say, "You want to play? You want to play? No, no. Okay, we're going to call it off." And what a shame.
I've heard the exact same exact same thing, that they're such good friends that neither one wants to mess with it.
Chickens, absolute chickens.
When we come back, we'll talk about where Anthony Davis ranks among the all-time greats of UK greats, and we'll tell you why the team doctor is staying busy over at U of L as we head to the break. Daryl's going to tell us about his book, Celebrate.
Appreciate it very much. Celebrate is out. 148 cities across the great Commonwealth. 136 pages, more than 100 photographs of celebrating the 8th National Championship. And yes, I've already started work on number 9 next year. How about that? Magazine.catspaws.com if you prefer to order and have it sent directly to your house.
Allstate Ford, 7-time recipient of Ford Motor Company's President's Award for Customer Satisfaction, with 13 Ford certified service technicians and a best-in-class parts department. Business or personal, we are the truck experts. Allstate Ford, on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and now is the time to get your new truck. Bachman has more Chevy trucks than any other dealer, all at fantastic prices. You'll get every Chevy incentive plus exclusive Bachman discounts during Chevy Truck Month. Tremendous selection of Silverados and every dependable Chevy truck. Plus, you save more during Chevy Truck Month with exclusive Bachman discounts. All Chevrolets are created equal. Bachman makes the difference.
Here we go. One step at a time, don't be living on the line. I don't need a friend, I got more than on the mind. Sunshine in my brain, making everyone complain. Radio in the heart, don't be being so strange. Think I'm losing it, baby, where?
Did you see Allison at lunch today? I'm gonna text her. I'm gonna text Allison. Hey, hold up, Matt's calling me. Hey, we got the food and we're on our way right now. Hey, who's coming, bro? It's help.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
That's not my horse. No, that horse is running in Central Park right now.
Rick, opening up our segment of the show this week, we're talking about stubborn coaches on our Game Time storylines. Well, our man Cal's been getting some heat on his scheduling or lack thereof of North Carolina and Indiana. So let's take a look at what Cal has to say in a missive that he sent out this week where he talks about how this program is changing under him. He says the 25-year-old model doesn't work anymore. It's done and blown up. We're going to go by our own model now. It's time that we learn and come to grips with the fact that we are not a traditional program, Darrell.
It's fascinating take that he put on CoachCal.com. We've got a couple more graphics coming up. But to basically say, if I'm going to lose 7 or 8 players every year, we can't be playing North Carolina and Indiana and Duke and all these other people locked in for the next 8 years solid. He wants a much narrower window. Still wants to play really good teams, wants to play them to prep for the Final Four type NCAA atmosphere. So it was an interesting take. I think it settled a lot of people, but there's still a lot of fans, and the detractors are out in force, but there's still a lot of UK fans who are like, no, come on, give me a break. You got to play Indiana, and you got to play Carolina. You got to keep giving us those good games, especially those buying tickets, home season tickets at Rupp Arena. They want quality games.
Well, what fans want are wins.
Yeah.
And they want to beat a ranked opponent every week, and it doesn't work like that. I mean, you're going to have to soften up the schedule. Let's see what else Cal had to say. He says you've got to play in big arenas. You've got to play in football stadiums. You've got to do something to get them ready for the Sweet 16 or the Final Four. A lot of teams do not have that opportunity. We do, and we have to take advantage of it.
That's probably his best point is say, look, we're Kentucky. We can play anybody. I think at one point he said, I'll shut down I-64 if you want to, and we'll play it right there on the street. Kentucky is a program who could have been on that aircraft carrier playing a game to tip off the season. He still wants big-time opponents. He still wants to play the Dukes and the Carolinas of the world and make a huge splash during the non-conference schedule. He just wants to do it in front of 70,000 instead of, especially home and away. He doesn't want anything to do with that. He wants the arena where you're in the Final Four trying to play in a place that has 70,000 and the back of the stadium is a half a mile away. He wants to get his team used to that. That point you cannot argue.
I agree that there is importance in playing on neutral courts, but I also think playing in tough road environments hardens your team, and you need that down the stretch as much as you need playing on neutral turf.
His argument, of course, is that there is no such thing as a road game during the tournament. It's neutral at worst, UK support at best.
He says the traditions of North Carolina, Louisville, and Indiana can continue, but a couple of them have to be at neutral sites. It's either we do that or we overschedule and put our players at risk.
Next season it is a good example. I mean, they missed out on Anthony Bennett, so it's a really thin team. It's a really good team, but it's a really thin roster. And do you want young guys, young psyches going into an Indiana and getting your brains beat out? Do you want to go get pounded at North Carolina? What does that do to the psyche of the team? That takes it out of the coach's hands. And Cal's a little bit of a control freak. I don't know if you know that. He likes to have his hands around it. He can control, okay, we'll lose by a little bit. He doesn't want young guys getting the psyche really pounded up because he doesn't know these guys that well. How's Noel going to handle if they lose by 20? He doesn't know. He's recruited them, but he hasn't had them in camp enough to know how they're going to react to that. So he'd rather have more control. Ease into it. I'll control where we are, and if we lose to Michigan State at Ford Stadium, so what? We're still prepping for the Final Four.
Cal's taking a lot of heat for not scheduling North Carolina and Indiana. Wisconsin's Bo Ryan taking some heat for making it difficult for one of his players to transfer. And Rick Pitino says there may be some underlying factors that the rest of us don't really appreciate.
I don't think any coaches 90% of the time hold players in the program. What's not public, because you're not allowed to comment on the academic part of people, is that they're not eligible and they kill the APR. So what coaches say is, see, you can transfer, but you got to get eligible first. That's never reported. I don't believe you should let a person transfer in conference because, there could be recruiting going on at that point in time. And I think that's a good rule. Unless the coach of that school gives permission. Like if somebody wanted to transfer to UConn and I said it's okay, then I think they should make an exception and that should be added to the rule.
See, I like Rick Pitino's philosophy a lot better than I like Bo Ryan's. Bo Ryan essentially had a list of 30 different schools this kid couldn't transfer to, and then later relented when he made himself look like a fool on national radio. So I think from Rick Pitino's standpoint, he would have probably let Jared Swapshire go to Seton Hall or something like that if the conference rule wasn't there. But I think they need to be more open with this thing, especially if they're going to continue calling these kids student athletes. Students can transfer anywhere, at any time, move. Yeah. Well, if they're student athletes, student first, you need to be more lax on that whole transfer rule.
Yeah, especially since all these scholarships are one-year scholarships.
Yes. Exactly
right. You lost your argument to me.
Yep.
Well, Anthony Davis is one of those iconic players that maybe come along once in a generation. National Player of the Year. He led the team to the NCAA championship, and he's getting $50 an autograph. So he is one of the guys that certainly caught the attention of the nation and another native son of Chicago.
They did it as a team. And nobody, I think, was a better example of that than Anthony Davis, who everybody kept on remarking on it. Nobody's ever seen somebody who didn't have a lot of field goals and yet still controlled the game. Still ended up being the most valuable player. Racked up 16 rebounds, 6 blocks, 3 steals. That doesn't count all the intimidation factor that the other team had to go through. Of course, that's what happens when you grow 8 inches between your sophomore and senior years of high school. In fact, he has grown an inch since he got to the White House.
At this rate, you have to wonder if Davis and Obama will be playing on the basketball court there at the White House. Yeah. Anthony Davis took the 4th most field goals, as Calipari has pointed out several times, but he is exactly why I love college basketball and I despise professional basketball. Yeah. This whole ISO and isolation, give me the ball and I'll keep it myself and take my shot 1 against 4, I hate that. And I hate that for Davis is going into that environment for all these guys who are leaving early. I just don't like the pro game. But what Cal did with those freshmen to get them to play together as one unit was remarkable.
Well, Rick Pitino says Gorgui Dieng has now been cleared to practice. He actually suffered a concussion in the NCAA tournament loss to Kentucky.
Gorgui had a concussion somewhere during that game, and he's just been cleared just recently. We did not know it until after the game, but we found out after the game. He said he felt woozy, and Fred gave him the test.
The rise of concussions in Louisville basketball and really in all sports is a scary trend. I mean, these kids are getting more concussions. I think that's Gorgie's 2nd concussion. So it's something to keep an eye on. It certainly won't limit him, during the off-season workouts or anything like that. He's cleared to play again. But what happens next year? What happens if he gets hit in the head again? I mean, that's a scary thing. And he may be another one of those guys wearing a helmet during practice.
That 70s pop band, America, had a hit called A Horse with No Name. Rick Pitino has a horse with maybe the wrong name. It may not fit. We'll talk about that after Howie tells us about CardinalSports.com.
You got it. The best place to get all your coverage, CardinalSports.com. Be sure to check that out. You've got football recruiting, basketball recruiting, videos, all kinds of different recruiting videos on there. Plus, you can chat with the other fans, and there's some wild opinions on there. Check it out, CardinalSports.com.
Allstate Ford, 7-time recipient of Ford Motor Company's President's Award for Customer Satisfaction, with 13 Ford certified service technicians and a best-in-class parts department. Business or personal, we are the truck experts. Allstate Ford, on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and now is the time to get your new truck. Bachman has more Chevy trucks than any other dealer, all at fantastic prices. You'll get every Chevy incentive plus exclusive Bachman discounts during Chevy Truck Month. Tremendous selection of Silverados and every dependable Chevy truck. Plus, you save more during Chevy Truck Month with exclusive Bachman discounts. All Chevrolets are created equal. Bachman makes the difference.
Here we go. One step at a time, don't be living on
calling me. Hey, we got the food and we're on our way right now. Hey, who's coming, bro? He needs help.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
What needs fixing on the Red and Blue Review? Brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvements.
One thing that's got to get fixed for the Cats going into the last week of the regular season in baseball is that team that's suddenly stumbling a little bit.
Yeah, they are stumbling a little bit, and I feel bad putting them as fixing because they've gone from number 1 to number 7, but they do need to take care of Alabama and get on a roll going into postseason.
Louisville coach Rick Pitino loved Angel McCoughtry so much, the former U of L basketball player, that he named one of his horses after her. Now, Angel's doing great in the WNBA, the horse not so much.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset at that name, so I'm really upset you brought that up because A. McCautry ran yesterday at Belmont and finished up the track. So I'm really pissed off at that horse, to tell you the truth. Getting past that horse, Angel, the real Angel, I think is tremendous, and she's not only a great WNBA player. For me to name a horse after her, you know how special she must be. I wish she would run as fast as the real Angel, though.
The real Angel can absolutely fly. She's one of the best athletes ever in the history of the University of Louisville.
Well, one of the things about horse racing that you can never predict is who's going to win and who's going to lose. It's kind of like life on Planet Red and Planet Blue, here on the Red and Blue Review. The Red and Blue Review has been brought to you by PNC Bank, Allstate Ford Truck Sales, and the Muhammad Ali Center.